All right, get those clubs ready because today we're going deep, like really deep. We're talking about the X factor in golf swings.
And, with all the talk lately about the differences between men and women players,
It's the perfect time to dive in.
absolutely. And we've got some incredible sources to help us out here.
Yeah, we've got Dr. Phil Cheatham. He's like the sports scientist when it comes to golf biomechanics.
And then Grant Waite, he's a top LPGA instructor, sees this stuff firsthand every day.
So we're going way beyond just saying like, okay, what is the X factor?
Right. We're talking how it actually works in the body, the muscles, the whole thing.
And we'll get into the surprising data on men versus women pros.
Oh, yeah. Some real eye-openers there.
And then to really bring it home, we'll even break down some pro swings using the Sportsbox AI app.
That's where the aha moments really kick in.
So for anyone listening who's like, wait, back up, what is this X factor thing?
Okay, imagine you're looking down at a golfer from above.
Like a bird's eye view.
Exactly. You draw one line across their shoulders, another across their hips.
Creating that X.
You got it. That angle, that's the X factor. It's the difference in rotation between your chest and your pelvis.
So basically, it's how much your upper body's turned compared to your lower body.
You could say that, but it's not just about how much you twist in your backswing.
Ah, so there's more to it.
There's always more to it. The X factor, it's not just at the top of your backswing.
Oh, so it's not like a one and done kind of thing?
Nope, it exists throughout the entire swing.
Yeah.
And it's not just how much you rotate, but the timing of it too.
Okay, so it's more nuanced than just twist a lot and bomb it.
Way more nuanced.
Now, I've also heard this term X factor stretch thrown around.
Uh-huh. Good one.
Is that different from regular X factor or?
It is. So think about it this way. You're starting your downswing.
Okay. Hips are firing towards the target.
Yep, but your upper body's still finishing that backswing motion. That increasing separation, that's the X factor stretch.
So you're like winding up tighter and tighter.
Exactly, like winding up a rubber band, storing up all that energy.
Whoa, that's a powerful image. Makes me think of Dr. Cheatham's research on muscle pre-stretch.
You're connecting the dots. That's exactly what's happening.
So the bigger the X factor stretch,
The more potential energy you're building up in those core muscles, ready to unleash it into a powerful downswing.
the body's so cool. But here's where things get a little mind-boggling for me.
Yeah. Lay it on me.
So Dr. Cheatham's research showed LPGA pros, on average, they actually have a larger X factor and X factor stretch than the guys on the PGA Tour.
Interesting.
Right. But and here's the kicker, they don't necessarily have higher clubhead speeds.
Now that is interesting. You'd think more X factor equals more power, right?
Exactly. So what gives? How is that possible?
That's where we go deeper than just more twist equals more distance.
I'm ready to go deeper. What's making those LPGA swings so unique even with that big X factor?
Well, Grant Waite had some insights on that from his work with the LPGA players.
Right, I'm all ears. What did he find?
So he noticed that LPGA players, while they tend to have that larger,
Great, bigger windup.
they also tend to have less forward sway at impact.
Forward sway. Like,
Imagine a sprinter, leaning forward at the start of a race.
oh, I see. Like that kind of pre-launch position.
Exactly. Men, on the other hand, they use more forward sway and generate more vertical push-off force from the ground.
So it's like women are these powerful springs winding up with that big X factor, but staying centered over the ball.
Yeah, great image.
While men are adding that extra oomph with a bit more of that lean and launch.
You got it.
Okay, that makes sense visually, but why is there this difference between men and women?
Well, it's more than just how they're taught to swing.
Right, it can't just be coaching.
It goes deeper into biology.
Oh, this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, so men, generally, they have more of those fast twitch muscle fibers.
The ones that give you that explosive power.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And they have more muscle mass overall, too.
Ah, makes sense.
And, of course, we can't forget about testosterone.
Oh, yeah, the muscle building fuel.
It definitely plays a role in power output.
So it's not just about swing technique, it's literally in their DNA.
In a way, yeah.
Men are basically built for those powerful ground force movements.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is,
And
but I
we-
gotta admit, all this is getting kind of theoretical.
I hear you. Time to see it in action.
Right. Can we look at some real-life examples of this in action, like in the pros?
Absolutely. Grant Waite analyzed some pro swings using the Sportsbox AI app.
Oh, cool. That app's amazing.
It really brings it to life when you can see these concepts in motion.
Yeah, I bet. I was really intrigued by his insights on Patty Tavatanakit, Rory McIlroy.
And Bryson, of course.
Oh, yeah, Bryson. And then comparing guys like Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas.
Each one kind of highlights a different aspect of the X factor. It's really cool.
Okay, so let's start with Patty.
Patty. She's amazing, isn't she?
Have you noticed how she generates so much power even though she has very little forward sway?
It's all about that huge X factor. She really harnesses it. Grant calls it a massive throw.
I love that massive throw. I can picture it now, that incredible rotation and that whip-like release.
And she's one of the longest hitters on the LPGA Tour, so clearly it works for her.
Definitely. Okay, now you, Liu, she's an interesting contrast, right?
Very much so. So she actually increased her clubhead speed by increasing her X factor stretch.
Wow, so she doubled down on the rotation.
And she started moving her weight forward more aggressively.
Oh, interesting. So she kind of combined both approaches.
Like she took the best of both worlds, the big wind up and that powerful push off the ground.
So it's not just one or the other. You can have a big X factor and D use the ground effectively.
Absolutely. There's
Uh-huh.
no one right way to do it.
That's good to know. Okay, I got to ask about Rory.
Rory, the X Factor king.
Grant mentioned how when Rory was younger, he had this extreme X factor stretch.
Probably because he didn't have as much upper body strength yet.
Right, he was still growing into his swing.
And Grant even said it led to Rory counter-rotating his hips at impact.
Oh, wait, what does that even look like?
It's almost like his upper body is unwinding so forcefully that his hips have to, like, rotate the other way momentarily.
Counterbalance it all.
Exactly. It's pretty wild to see.
That sounds intense, but also maybe risky, you know?
It can be. For Rory, obviously it worked out incredibly well.
Right, he's Rory.
But for most people, trying to copy that, it's probably not the best idea.
Yeah, what works for a pro might not work for us mere mortals.
Exactly. And it's a good reminder that balance and control are just as important as power.
Right, you can't just swing for the fences every time.
That's what makes comparing Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas so interesting.
Oh yeah, they're both amazing players, but with very different styles.
And they have pretty similar X factor measurements.
Really. But they use the ground so differently.
Totally. Grant said Jordan's got more of a rotational style.
While Justin's got more lateral movement.
Yep. So even with a similar X factor, their overall swing dynamics are unique.
It's like there's no one-size-fits-all approach to this.
There really isn't. It's about finding what works for you.
And then you have Bryson, who's like a whole other category.
Bryson, the mad scientist of golf.
He went all in on maximizing his X factor, right?
Part of his whole quest for distance.
Like a science experiment on the golf court.
Pretty much. But it clearly paid off for him.
Oh yeah, he's a beast. But it shows how you can really use biomechanics to your advantage.
As long as you know what you're doing.
Right, it's not just about twisting more.
You got to understand how all the pieces fit together.
It's fascinating to see how different golfers with different bodies and swings can all find success by using the X factor in their own unique way.
And that brings us to the big question. How do we apply this knowledge to our own swings?
Right. It's great to analyze the pros, but what about us regular golfers?
How do we actually use this stuff to improve our game?
I mean, I'm all for understanding the science, but ultimately I want to see those scores go down.
Luckily for us, Grant had some great advice for both men and women.
Oh, good. Tailored tips. I like it.
Based on, those biomechanical differences we talked about.
Right, because one size doesn't fit all when it comes to X factor.
Definitely not. It's all about understanding your body, your swing.
Okay, so let's start with the ladies.
All right, for women golfers who want to maximize their X factor, Grant really stressed two things.
Hit me with them.
Core strength and efficient weight transfer.
Okay, so since women already tend to have that bigger X factor.
Right. It's about controlling it, making sure all that energy is being used effectively.
So it's not just about winding up as MUCH as possible.
Nope. It's about winding up correctly
Ah, quality over quantity.
and then unleashing that power smoothly.
I like it. What kind of exercises did he recommend for core strength?
He's a big fan of planks, Russian twists, anything that targets those obliques.
Oh, yeah, the obliques are key for rotation.
Absolutely. Got to strengthen that midsection.
All right, core workouts added to the to-do list. What about that reweighting the left leg thing?
Oh, that's crucial. Think about like pushing off the ground like a sprinter.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
That's the feeling you want. Women golfers can really benefit from focusing on shifting their weight onto that left leg during the downswing.
So it's like a double whammy, that powerful X factor rotation and a strong push off the ground.
Exactly. Harnessing all that power.
No wonder the LPGA pros hit the ball so far.
Right? It's impressive stuff.
Okay, guys, your turn. What did Grant recommend for maximizing X factor for men?
His advice for men, and maybe younger players too who are still growing,
Okay, so those whose bodies are still developing.
is to be careful about overdoing that right side bend in the backswing.
Right. Remember our chat about Rory?
Too much of a good thing can be a bad thing, especially for our backs.
I meant to that.
So Grant emphasized building core strength, of course,
Right, gotta have that foundation.
but with a focus on balance and control.
So not just mindlessly twicting away.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot where you're generating power without putting too much stress on your body.
It's all about that finesse, right?
It really is. It's more than just twist more, hit it farther.
It's about knowing your body, what works for you.
And working with a good coach who can help you fine-tune that X factor.
So you can really maximize your potential.
Exactly. It's like we've unlocked this secret code to the golf swing.
I feel like we've barely scratched the surface, though.
There's always more to learn. But at least now we have a better understanding of how much X factor impacts, like, everything in our game.
It's pretty mind-blowing, but I keep coming back to this one question.
What's that?
Okay, we've learned all about the science, the biomechanics, how the pros use it,
Right, we've covered a lot.
but how does this actually translate to lower scores for us everyday golfers?
The million-dollar question.
What's the missing link between knowing about X Factor and actually seeing it pay off on the course?
That's where the mental game comes in.
Ooh, I like where you're going with this.
It's about more than just the physical swing. It's about that mind-body connection.
So if we're more aware of what's happening in our swings,
Does that change how we approach the shot mentally?
right, how we visualize it, how we feel those movements.
Exactly. Understanding X factor, it gives you a blueprint for that powerful, efficient swing.
Like the instruction manual for your body.
I like that. So instead of just going through the motions, you can actually feel those key positions.
That winding sensation in the backswing, that powerful uncoiling through impact,
You become more present in the swing.
like switching from autopilot to manual mode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that awareness leads to more control, more consistency, and ultimately more confidence.
And when you're
Do you trust your instincts? You swing decisively, you hit better shots.
it's all connected. So understanding the X factor, it's not just about physical potential.
It unlocks mental clarity and control too.
That's so cool. This deep dive has honestly given me a whole new appreciation for just how complex and how amazing the golf swing really is.
It's a beautiful thing.
Big thanks to Dr. Phil Cheatham and Grant Waite for sharing their insights with us.
They're the best.
If you want to dive deeper into the X Factor, be sure to check out the show notes for links to their work and the Sportsbox AI app, which is an awesome tool for visualizing all of this.
And who knows what other breakthroughs are out there waiting to be discovered.
That's what keeps it exciting. So until next time, keep those swings smooth, those minds sharp, and may your X Factor be with you.